Brown, who's an astrophysicist over at the University of Warwick. David, good to have you on the show. So this is the first time a recycled space capsule is being used for this mission. I mean, this was the plan all along, but talk to us about why this is so significant for NASA.
Good morning. This is a really big step for NASA. The whole point of getting SpaceX involved in some ways was to drive down the costs of space missions, particularly crewed missions, to NASA, reusing things like the Dragon capsule, like the boosters for the first stage of the rocket. Reusing those multiple times really does help reduce those costs. The more you use something, the less you have to pay to build a new one. Okay, there are refurbishment costs, but I don't think you can underestimate how much just reusing something rather than rebuilding it actually helps save money for NASA.
Fair enough. All right. At the beginning, the crew experienced some fairly tense moments when ground control sort of told them that space debris might actually collide with a capsule. How dangerous would this have been, and are these types up there fairly uncommon?
I think in this instance, it was potentially quite dangerous. NASA were clearly worried about it, worried enough to ask the astronauts to put their suits back on and lower their visors. So if there had been a collision, I think the risk of depressurization was obviously there. It turned out to not be a big deal. The debris was further away than they actually thought it was.
Okay.
These kind of events aren't very common at the kind of altitudes that these missions fly. At the sort of 300, 400 kilometer altitude, most debris tends to fall back down to the Earth because of the atmosphere.
Okay. I was wondering if you could sort of elaborate on the cooperation between Elon Musk's SpaceX and NASA, and how that cooperation is going so far, according to you.
It's going incredibly well. SpaceX have proven themselves repeatedly now that they're capable of performing the duties that NASA have asked them to. Dragon has been a great success. Falcon 9, the rocket that they've used to launch the capsule, also a great success, not just for these crewed missions, but also for cargo missions. And of course, SpaceX have just been awarded a contract by NASA relating to NASA's return to the moon and their desire to return astronauts to the moon's surface. So the relationship is going very, very well. It works for NASA because they can save money, they can contract out some of their duties, and some of the risk gets transferred over to SpaceX. It's good for SpaceX because they get NASA contracts, they get more funding to develop their Starship system. So it seems to be mutually beneficial, and as we've seen from yesterday and today's progress, it's going incredibly well.
All right, David Brown, we'll leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much for joining us here on Chair 2 World. Do appreciate it.